Hi everyone, my name is Laura, and I'm an awesome kisser. Yeah, that's not the lack of modesty in me talking. You'll find a bunch of certificates in my room to prove my skills. I'll tell you about kissing and my experience and how it makes everyone swoon. When I turned 12 years old, I first began to seriously consider what my first kiss in life would be. My neighbor Carmen used to say, "Forewarned is forearmed." What she meant was that I should be prepared in advance. Carmen, how do you figure that's silly? I don't even have a boyfriend to learn from. You won't have one if you don't learn beforehand. It's like a vicious circle. Stupid. There are a lot of ways and means. It's easy for you to talk. Your lips are so big you don't even have to move them. They work for you. It's not the size, it's the technique. Nothing is as memorable as a first kiss, and if it's bad, you're screwed. You're gonna embarrass me, your family, your home, our neighborhood. All right, I hear you, but how do you solve a problem like that? Have you ever been to a festival? What kind? They were kissing festivals. We used to have them a lot in the city. The mayor just loved those events. She thought they were fun, and we Spaniards are supposed to be hot. If only someone understood that we weren't all like that. When Spaniards were handing out something hot of mind, body, or behavior, I must have been standing in line for shyness at the time, because I have plenty of that, but not the right stuff. Carmen took it all for herself. So we went to this festival. Carmen dressed me in a red dress, did my makeup and hair and everything, then told me to sit in a chair. A line lined up ahead of me of those who wanted to kiss me, having previously paid the token amount of €1 in the city's plot. It was okay, but I was so nervous that my palms were sweating. But never mind. The first was a kid 3 years younger than me. "What are you doing here? Did your mom lose you?" But he showed me his teeth with cavities, a cheeky smile, and said, "You can't talk. Is this your first time? I paid euros, so you're mine for a minute." It was disgusting to admit, but he was right. Those were the rules. After an awful minute, an old man came up to me. He had no teeth at all. I had to put up with the awful kiss. I just pressed my lips together as hard as I could and waited for time to run out. At the 5th person, I was about to give up. But then Carmen came up to me and whispered in my ear that there was a really cool guy sitting in the line. I looked out and saw that it was real. There was such a good-looking guy standing there, so I decided to wait. Finally, it was his turn. He sat across from me and I smiled at him, and we started kissing. Not 10 seconds later, he said, "Sorry, I came for a great kiss, but I didn't get one," and left. It was a kick in the kidneys. I ran up to Carmen after that, but she didn't say anything. She just said that I needed to urgently enroll in courses on kissing. Yeah, they used to have those too. So I ran and signed up. I became the most diligent student. At the course, we were taught to kiss on tomatoes, and sometimes, for educational purposes, we kissed with our teachers. After 2 weeks, I had already turned into the best graduate. All that was left was to gain more experience. That's when it all started. Rad kisses. I went on blind dates, kissed guys, barely spoke to them. They thought I liked them a lot, but I was just gaining experience. I tried not to make eye contact. I just made out with them. Over a couple of years of dating like that, I accumulated a decent list of guys. The longest kiss was the one that lasted 2.5 hours. There was just a guy who was a chatterbox. I didn't want to listen to him, and as soon as I closed my mouth, he chattered again. So I kissed him for that long, and then I told him to go fuck himself. It didn't take me long to become a professional, and then I went to that kissing fair again for fun, and I met the same kid there. He told me he had kissed before, so he had experience, and I kissed him so hard that he passed out on the spot. Everybody thought he was making a joke, but after him, the guy who was kissing me passed out too, and then another and another. I didn't understand what was going on. Then Carmen hugged me and said at the top of her voice that kissing me was now worth €2 because I was the kissing queen. 8 other guys tried to check this out, and they all passed out too. And then Javier came up to me, the same guy who didn't like the way I kissed at the last fair. "Oh, you're the one who's a terrible kisser." "Yeah, me." "Well, come on, you. I'll give you €5, and if I don't like it, you give me my money back. And if you faint, you pay 20. "Here it comes." 3 minutes later, he was already counting his money. Oh yes, that every day. I became the legend, the real kiss queen herself, and it was no joke. It was fun at first. The fame of me walked around town. Someone offered me kisses for money, someone for clothes, cosmetics, and other gifts. It was all nice, but after 6 months, I was sick of it all. Why are you so sad? Your Instagram just exploded. You have so many followers, everyone wants to kiss you. What are you missing? I kiss them all, and I want to be kissed. What? I want to be kissed by someone who's good at it. I have an idea. Let's make a post and find you a date. Carmen was so insane in some ways, but she had some really good ideas too. We had a contest for the guy who would make me swoon for a kiss. There were about 450 people for my contest that day. Can you imagine? A lot of my subscribers who didn't even live in my town came anyway. It was flattering. As a prize, Carmen promised to give new Bluetooth headphones to the winner. The event had to be done for 3 days because I couldn't have made it any longer physically. The first 50 guys were average kissers, some good, some really bad. On the second day, I still hadn't given up hope, but on the third day, I was done. When the last guy kissed me, I realized I would never find a good pro like me. What the hell? So many people, and none of them are good. I was angry, screaming, sitting on the stage. A janitor was walking by, and he suddenly asked me why I was doing this. Are you asking me?
Well, yeah.
You're the janitor, right? So keep sweeping. Why are you bothering me?
It's just maybe I'm a good kisser.
Yeah, maybe, but you can do that without me.
Just 'cause I'm a janitor?
Yeah, you got that right. I went home upset. What was the point of me learning how to kiss in the first place? Carmen, if I hadn't listened to you, I wouldn't know how to kiss, and I would have found a guy to teach me. And he would have dumped you because you're a bad kisser. Now I dump everybody because I don't like the way they kiss. Notice the difference. It's not you who gets dumped. You dump them. And that's worth a lot, by the way. Carmen, I just want a fucking relationship. You haven't kissed every guy yet. Who hasn't been kissed in this town?
Me.
We were so scared. Oh my God, where did you come from?
I'm a janitor. I know where people live.
Were you following me?
I was on my way home. I don't live too far from you. It's only 3 blocks away.
What do you want?
Give me a kiss and you'll find out.
Oh no, I don't need any more janitors.
But
that's it. Get out of my sight. Then he left. Carmen started asking me why I was so principled, but I didn't even want to think about it. I'd rather be alone than kiss a janitor. Suit yourself, girlfriend. The day will come when you'll take him back. No, it won't. But it came the next day. Carmen and I went to a picnic on the beach, swimming and talking. I decided to take my mind off everything. I brought a fruit basket with me, grapes, strawberries, and Carmen brought hot dogs. It was a good, easy day. I ate grapes and then decided to show my neighbor the berry tossing trick. I threw the grapes up and caught them in my mouth. One of those grapes hit my throat and I started choking. Carmen tried to help me, but she had no strength. She screamed, at which time I was already passing out. Then that janitor came running up behind me, and he gave me a quick squeeze on my stomach. I spit out the grape, but I still couldn't breathe. Then he started giving me artificial respiration, and he kissed me, and I lost consciousness. When I came to, I realized I lived. We had a conversation afterward about how fucked up I was, but I remembered how it felt when I kissed him. People's jobs don't define them. I kissed myself and passed out on him. Then he kissed me, and I lost it again. And that's the kind of cool couple we've become. Passed out on each other. Can't help it. We're too good at it.
Hi, my name is Rachel, but you can call me Ray. I would like to share a story with you, but I don't tell it to many people because I'm ashamed and embarrassed. But now I've reached a turning point in my life when I've begun to understand that sometimes some things in life do not depend on us at all, and all we have to do is accept them or reject them. I hope for your support. Write your opinion in the comments. It is priceless for me. Let's start with the fact that I grew up without a father. I've always, as I can remember, had a mom. I didn't know any other relatives, and it was perfectly normal for me to live like this. My mother and I had each other, and we didn't need anyone else. As time went on, I grew up, and along with it, I had questions about who my father was. But at each such moment, my mother reacted the same way, with aggression. She always called him a goat and said only that he had cheated on us, but how he cheated, why, and when, She did not tell. I knew it was bothering her, so I only asked about Dad 2 or 3 times. The last time, I got a slap in the face. By the way, this was also the norm at home. My mother often punished me, and for various things. For example, a poorly washed floor, not neatly folded dry clothes, and once I washed her white blouse and my sweatpants. I swear, I didn't even see that her blouse was in the washing machine, so I got hit so hard. I didn't go outside for 3 days after that because the bruises on my hands didn't go away. My mother beat my hands with a belt. Yes, she was always strict, terribly demanding. Each morning started with screams and ended with them too. And sometimes she screamed so much that she lost her voice, and then it was my fault again. I really wanted to be an obedient girl. I studied hard, always cleaned the house, cooked as best as I could, never went out with friends, as long as my mother was in a good mood. But every day I was waiting for the same thing. Screams, quarrels, screams, punishments. When my mother was particularly angry, she said that I was a burden that pulled her down, that if I wasn't there, she would be happy. How did that make me feel? Of course, it was terrible. I ran into my room after such words and cried all night. But then I calmed down and told myself that my mother was just tired. I still loved her, if only because she was the only one I had. Yes, we did not live very well. Sometimes it was barely enough to close all the accounts and buy food. That's also why we didn't allow ourselves much. But one day, there was a happy accident. Some unknown uncle came to our house. He called himself a lawyer and informed us that he worked for my mother's father and that he died, but left an inheritance in the form of a house for me, his granddaughter. It was a small house in another city. The lawyer brought a letter with warm words of regret that they did not communicate all these years, that he asks for forgiveness and gives us the property. I was standing in the other room at that moment and heard everything. How happy I was! Do I have a home of my own? I was so happy. I wanted to go to college, or at least move to another city and live, now that I have my own house. I was ready to squeal with joy. Mom signed the necessary documents and, without really saying anything, took the keys and slammed the door. I ran out of the room happy, wanting to hug my mother and congratulate us on the purchase. Then I got slapped again. "Why are you running? This is not your home. It's mine by right, and I will do what I want with it," she shouted. I begged her not to do anything wrong, but she said that I was underage, so she had the right to dispose of it without my knowledge. In short, my mother, as it turned out, held a grudge and resentment against her father due to the fact that one day they had a big fight and she left home. Grandfather didn't even try to stop her, so she didn't go back. Then she met my father, who, after finding out about her pregnancy, left, and since then she has been angry with the whole world. I tried to persuade her not to sell the house, but she wouldn't listen. My mother sold it, along with my future, my plans and dreams. She felt that it was more important for her to close debts and loans with this money, so she did. And the rest of the amount my mother spent somewhere, but definitely not on me and not on the house. I have no idea what she did with it. The college that I had dreamed of for so long was also behind me, and at that moment, I realized that I no longer had anyone to help me. Summoning all the will in my fist, in my senior year, I began to look for places for a free education. I applied anywhere just to be accepted. I couldn't and didn't want to stay at home with my mother because it became more and more difficult to talk to her every year. We didn't have a connection, and over the years, my mother and I became even more withdrawn. Besides, I couldn't forgive her for doing this to me, to my future. At that time, I was determined to leave and take care of myself on my own, because it wasn't safe to stay with her. That's what I did when I graduated from high school. I still got into a good college thanks to tests, although I was not physically active. I did not play sports. I do not have a creative gift, but I am smart. I studied a lot and always did everything conscientiously. I was accepted to the Faculty of Physiology, which I was happy about. I told my mother the day before I left. It was a terrible scandal, but I didn't listen to her. I just packed up and left. Ask me how I lived. It was hard for me because I didn't have much money and work, but I got out of it, got into debt, sold some of my things, and made some money over the summer. This was enough for me for the time being, but then I got a scholarship. In general, why I decided to share my story with you is so that you do not give up and do not betray your dreams. You know, not all parents are capable and have the ability to take care of their children. This happens and we either accept it or don't. For example, I could not accept it and did not want to. Since then, a couple of years have passed, and my life has changed dramatically, and I am happy. And as for Mom, she lives in the same way and in the same place, still works and doesn't want to see me. But I understand that this won't always be the case. She probably needs more time to digest the information. Oh no, in no case did I leave her, as she says about me and my father. I just ran away to arrange my future. Is that so bad? What would you do in my place? Share your opinion, please. I'm waiting for your comments and likes.